What if I told you that one of the reasons you're not manifesting the life of your dreams is because you've been listening to people who have done absolutely nothing with their lives? As a matter of fact, most people take advice from people who have never achieved or done or been anywhere. I see it all the time in my field. I get a lot of people wanting to give me a lot of advice, but they don't even have any passport stamps. They have done nothing, have gone anywhere, have never even started a business or a company. So today's talk is going to be along this topic. How about understanding that the proof is in the pudding? If you're going to want to go and get some type of advice or mentorship, it should be from somebody that has at least accomplished something within the realm of what you're trying to accomplish. If they haven't done that, then why even get advice from them? At that point, they're just guessing. They have no proof in the pudding. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about some of my life and some things that I was able to do to prove myself to my mother and to show her a better way out. Some of you know that I grew up in abject poverty in my early years, and it wasn't easy. I mean, it really wasn't easy. Imagine having to connect your water hose to the neighbor's house to steal their water just so you can take a bath because you had no running water inside. Imagine utilizing that same water hose as drinking water, as dishwashing water, right? And cooking water. Imagine some days not having any electricity and being 70, 80 degrees outside, but the house is like a furnace on the inside. And then when it hits summertime, the house can blossom up to 110 degrees on certain days. Imagine not being able to afford to drain your septic tank because the city that I lived in didn't have a drainage system for the entire city, didn't have a sewer system. And so each individual house had its own septic tank. Imagine not being able to drain that, and it was already over full before we moved in. And so now sewage is coming up into the house, into the sink, into the tubs. It brings a lot of roaches and actually a lot of disease into the house. These are some of the conditions that I grew up in. Imagine eating Cairo syrup and toast. It's this clear syrup and just toast. If you could even get the toast. Sometimes the gas was off, so we couldn't toast the bread inside of a pan. We didn't have a toaster. This is also pre-microwave. So microwaves didn't exist back in the 70s. At least we didn't have one. I don't remember seeing a microwave in my family until my Nana bought one in about 88, 89-ish, somewhere in that range. So what I'm telling you is, I'm painting a picture of the extreme poverty that I was growing up in. And even my neighbors and my friends, they were living better than I was in the same city. We're living under very poor conditions. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I found a way out. I believed in myself and I believed in my ability. I believed that I could take action and I can change my reality. One day, as some of you know, I decided to take my toys and put my toys inside of a milk crate from the local grocery store and walk door to door with that milk crate full of toys, asking for donations from my neighbors. I was telling them, hey, I just want to get enough money to buy something from the ice cream truck, a penny, a dime, a quarter, anything you have will help. I want to give away my toys in exchange for money. I squared the block and I ended up with about $13 and change. This really changed my life because that day was the day that I said to myself out loud, I spoke it, I am going to save myself. I realized that I would be the one coming to save me, not anyone else. No deity was coming. No special superhero was going to fly in and swoop me up and take me out of this ghetto. It was going to be me. I was going to have a thought, I was going to act on it, and I was going to create a new result. My new result was I had this money that I can utilize now to buy something from the ice cream truck. That day was my big epiphany day. When people said, how did you get into all this? That was the day my life changed. Because I realized if I took a risk, which it was a risk, leaving my front yard, got a risk of getting spanked or beat by my parents, because that was a rule, don't leave the yard. Number two, the risk of getting abducted by some crazy person in my neighborhood. And the third thing was obviously the risk of getting robbed after I collected money. or the next house that I showed up to. Maybe they wanted to steal whatever money I collected up to that point. But I did it anyway. I overcame my fears. Fears, false evidence appearing real. That's the acronym for fear. I overcame my fear because fear is a choice, and I chose not to be afraid. I chose to be bold, and I chose to go out there and make an attempt to change my reality by taking action. This is the first time I recognized the formula. Now, I didn't call it a formula back then, but later on I realized it was a formula. Conscious thought multiplied by action equals manifestation. CT multiplied by A equals M. You can't get to the manifestation without the first two, and you damn sure can't get to the manifestation without the action steps. I applied that same technique to everything I began to do, and when I turned 12, I started my own business. I saved the money from my newspaper sales job, and I started buying wholesale car stereos from Galaxy Electronics in New York and selling those digital car stereos to upperclassmen because nobody had a digital car stereo at the time. Digital car stereos were brand new. It was a rave of the world at that point because everyone was converting into digital. I made a lot of money doing that, and I showed my parents that I knew how to manifest my reality. I showed them that I could take risk, that I could save money, that I can invest that money, and that I can go out there and make an energy exchange by going door to door and going up to high schoolers and asking them if they wanted to change out their car stereo for a digital car stereo. I overcame the fear of speaking to people and interacting and engaging people. I also had to overcome the fear of walking around with a lot of money because sometimes I'd walk around with $500-600 on me at a time. Back then, that's like walking around with $2,000 or $3,000 today. They were talking about the 80s, the early 80s. And I showed my parents that I was bold, that I could communicate, that I had innovation, that I was a futurist, and that I can also make money. So they witnessed this. They actually saw it firsthand. Now, my parents, bless them, they're both gone. They've been gone for many years. They both died very young. But my parents were just newspaper delivery people. That's what they did for a living. They delivered newspaper for the Miami Herald. My dad also did side jobs as a shade tree mechanic. He was basically a guy that you'd come to and say, hey, I need my points changed, or my spark plugs changed, or oil change on my car, or my car's making this funny noise, can you help me? And my dad would have them pull up the cars to the house, and he'd work on it right in front of the yard. So he was like a shade tree mechanic. He had his own mechanics books that he had gotten from as a gift from my papa, my grandfather. And that's how he learned mechanics. And he did the best he could, and that helped him make a little extra money. Unfortunately, a lot of the money he made, he spent it on alcohol and drugs because he was suffering from a great deal of depression after losing his parents at a very young age. And that put him in a situation where he was masking and hiding, trying to escape through drugs and alcohol. So that didn't help anything with our financial struggles. So we get to the point now where my mom sees me as a successful person because she's witnessed me make decisions that help me to generate revenue for myself. And I was paying rent at the house. I never missed a month. I paid rent every single month from the time I was 12. It started off at $100 a month, and gradually when I became a teenager, until I was 16, before I moved out, I was up to $400 a month that I was paying. My mother had an unfortunate experience, or maybe fortunate experience. She was inside of the grocery store, the Winn-Dixie grocery store, the same store where I got that milk crate years prior to go out and sell my toys. And she was walking down the aisle that was directly in front of the seafood ice chest. Well, the ice chest power had went out, had a malfunction, and the ice inside the fish area had melted and came out into the aisle. So as she was walking by where the fish usually are sitting on top of ice back then, now it's just refrigerated, the ice had melted and leaked into the aisle. She slipped and fell. I was actually in the store at the same exact time that my mother fell. I was on, I think, aisle 10, and one of my friends were in the store, and they ran over and said, hey man, your mama just fell down on aisle 5. I was like, man, get out, don't play with me like that. And they were like, no, I'm serious. I was like, really? I ran over to aisle 5, and sure enough, my mom was laid out on the floor. She hurt her knee pretty bad, and the ambulance came, the police came, and of course the store manager. They wrote a report, and my mom ended up getting an attorney, and she sued for negligence, obviously. And at the end of the day, after all medical bills and everything else, she got $5,000. Five. Back then, that's probably like today, like maybe getting $15,000 to $18,000. I told my mom, I said, Mom, if you listen to me, you can turn that into hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she said, how? How can I turn $5,000 into hundreds of thousands of dollars? I said, in the magazine that I got, where I found those digital car stereos that I've been selling and making all this money, there's another company in there that I think you'd be great at doing. It's a carpet cleaning company. And she said, carpet cleaning company? I said, yes. They have a machine, a revolutionary machine. It's called a Von Schrader dry foam extraction carpet cleaning and upholstery machine. I'll never forget it. And this Von Schrader machine was revolutionary because it didn't use water to clean. It used foam and extraction techniques to push thick foam into the carpet or the upholstery, and then with these deep brushes, brush out and clean the area, but also not soaking the material, allowing it to dry 3 times faster. This was revolutionary. It's a revolutionary way of cleaning carpet and upholstery where a person doesn't have to go get a hotel for 2 or 3 days and come back. Back then in the 80s, everyone had carpet and everyone had plush material on their chairs and couches. So it really was a well-needed cleaning service. So my mother said to me, how in the world am I going to get new clients? I have no money for advertising. I said, okay, I understand that, but do you realize what you do for a living? She said, yeah, I deliver newspapers. I said, right. You deliver newspapers, of which I delivered most of those newspapers with them, because a lot of the times my mom would be sick because she had anemia, and I would have to go out and deliver those newspapers before I go to school. And we'd go hit these condos in Miami Lakes and go door to door dropping off these papers. But on certain days, I remembered I would have to put the inserts in the newspaper, all the ad inserts. They didn't come together. The ads came separate from the paper. So the first 3 hours of work was stuffing ads in newspapers. Well, that gave me the idea. If I'm already putting ads in the papers, why not put our own ad in these papers? I said, Mom, what you're going to do is you're going to go up to Winn-Dixie. They have a print machine there. And you're going to print out copies of a flyer. We're going to make a flyer and you're going to print them out. And you're going to stuff your flyer inside the newspapers along with the ads. See, back then, everyone read newspapers. Tablets didn't exist. The internet didn't exist. Cable TV had just started. There's only 13 channels. TV commercials were still huge. But every day, everyone looked forward to grabbing that newspaper, opening it up, and reading it, especially people looking for jobs, because the classified ads were there to find a job. And everyone loved the Sunday paper because it had all the ads and all the sales were in there. You can go out and, buy stuff for your family, back to school shopping, all these things, weekend sales, holiday sales, all that was inside the newspaper. So she listened to me because she had saw the proof is in the pudding, like I said in the beginning of this video. I proved to her that I knew how to take action. I knew how to have a conscious thought, take action, and manifest my reality. And I did it over and over and over again. So my proof was in the pudding. She was taking advice from a proven person, a person that proved themselves already in their eyes. I generated capital and revenue on my own, utilizing these techniques. So when I gave her the advice, I was becoming a mentor at that moment. So I mentored my mother on how to become a businesswoman. And because she saw that I had already proven it, the proof was in the pudding, she listened to me. She took that $5,000 and she bought that machine. The machine cost $4,995. That included free shipping. She bought the machine, thankfully. She listened to me. She went and made the flyers. She stuffed the newspapers with her ads and delivered those to her clients. Every single Sunday, the phone rang off the hook. The first year that she started her company, Carson and Carson Carpet Cleaning, they made $70,000. This is in the 80s. $70,000 now is about $300,000 today, or probably $280,000 to $300,000 income today based on inflation. great money. For the first time in my parents' lives, they actually made real income. They were able to even buy more machines, expand. They started growing a blossoming carpet cleaning company. All because I one day decided that I would go out and I would take a risk. I would act on my conscious thought, take action, and go door to door selling my toys. Do you see the effect that that had as I changed and altered the reality tunnel, not only of my life, but even my parents' life? All because I proved that I can accomplish something on a consistent basis. And then I was able to mentor that knowledge to my parents that actually listened. Why? Because they saw I proved myself to them. Stop listening to people that have never proven to do anything in their lives. They're just chatter. They're just distractions. They come in to tell you and rob you of your ideas and your dreams. You can't do that. That's not going to work. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is evil. Rich people are evil. You got to sell your soul to the devil and all this crazy stuff. I've heard it all from relatives and family members over the years. I've been attacked by my own siblings because of my success, jealousy and envy. Don't listen to the outside chatter. Take advice from people that have proven themselves. Go to the link in the caption of this video or in my bio or in the live chat if you see one. Click on that link and sign up for the Forbidden Knowledge Academy, and I will become your mentor, along with my coaching team, and guess what? 1,200 other incredible leaders in there to help push you to become the person that you're truly meant to be. So my parents listened to me, and they started Carson & Carson Carpet Cleaning Company and did very, very well. And even though my father eventually got back into alcohol and drugs and kind of really screwed things up there, my mother had enough knowledge now to expand out and do things on her own. So she started her own service, and she started doing commercial buildings, right? And that allowed her to earn a decent income and take care of herself, regardless of whatever my father was doing. It allowed her to move and get a car and eventually learn how to drive and eventually even get a house in another city. So these teachings, this knowledge of understanding how to utilize your conscious thoughts and act on them. But also the most important part was I taught my mother something about energy exchange. I showed her that, because when I saw her cleaning around the house, she had a passion for it. For her, it was like her escape. It was almost like a meditation when she would start cleaning. That's why I knew it would be perfect for her. So she's already passionate about cleaning. And so now it's just about applying that passion to someone who needs it. So, we had to keep cleaning on a consistent basis because, like I said, we were living in poor conditions. And that cesspool that was rumbling underneath the house at any moment could make any of us sick. And so my mom was passionate about that. And so when I told her how to take that passion and find a need for that passion in the world back in the 80s, it was a carpet boom. Everyone had carpets. Every house, every apartment, everywhere you went, carpet. And they all had to be cleaned, especially if they had pets. And so it gave them the ability to find someone who needed that passion. And the next part was taking the action. She was willing to listen to me, make those flyers, stuff those newspapers, and deliver them. Free advertising. Thank you, Miami Herald. We appreciate you. Thank you for your service, for giving us those clients. And those phones rang off the hook, and we got tons and tons and tons of business. And that's how my mother was able to get out of the situation that we were in. But it all started with understanding one fundamental principle. We have the capability of reprogramming the way we perceive the world, the way that we perceive money, and the way that we perceive ourselves. You can be the catalyst for someone that will alter and change your complete reality and understanding about manifestation and finance simply because you've changed yourself. When I changed myself, when I evolved consciously to realize I can create the reality that I wanted through conscious thought and action, and then my mother was able to witness that, I became a light bulb. I became a match and a flame, and I was able to light her match. And one thing about flames, one flame can light 100 million flames, but the first flame will still keep its flame. I lost nothing by lighting my mom's flame, and she lost nothing by lighting someone else's flame. It's about paying it forward and understanding that we have the ability to do this. So again, the proof is in the pudding. You have the ability to become the person that you've always desired to become, and also build a legacy, which will be the flame that can be seen for generations to come. You can light many, many flames. It all starts with joining the Forbidden Knowledge Academy. So click that link in the bio or in the caption of this video or audio and join the Forbidden Knowledge Academy today. The proof is in the pudding. I've already proven that I can do what I say I can do. Let me teach you and hold your hand and walk you through step by step by step. There's over 100 hours of modules and trainings within the academy that you graduate to. Incredible giveaways. Join the academy today, and I guarantee you're going to change your life.